Liberal Currents presents Half the Answer with your hosts, Caitlin M. Green and Trent R. Nelson.
Well, Trent, you know what they say about the days and how they are. They're happy and they're here again. So this is Half the Answer, where understanding a question is half the answer. I'm Caitlin Green. Do not adjust your television set. I am not a bear. A bear did not eat Caitlin Green. It's me. And I am a linguist. I am an editor and a writer with Liberal Currents. And with me is our co-host, Trent Nelson, historian, philosopher, man about town, football legend.
Paul Krause, how's it going? It's the closest I can get. I'm not going to shave, obviously. Caitlin, what a wonderful time of the year. Spooky season is rightly upon us. You know, I haven't had to think of so many costumes in quite some time, but, you know, you just pull them out. You got bear, you got Bluey adjacent. Yeah,
I got a whole closet full of them, and that's the life of being a mom of small children. Today, I'm actually not just any bear. I'm actually the bear from the classic children's story, the mouse, the little mouse, the big hungry bear, and the red ripe strawberry. So I brought my strawberry.
Very specific bear.
It's a great book. I really recommend it. I remember it from being little. I read it to my kids. They got obsessed with it, and so we dressed up as it a couple of years ago.
We'll put it in the description.
That's good. I need that. I need kid book recommendations.
It is so good. I will give you a whole list of our favorites. We're big fans of John Klassen over here. Okay. Which also there's a good bear in that one in a book called I Want My Hat Back, which is about a bear who's looking for his hat. It's so good.
Well, don't get me going into Rutgers and the water snouts. Caitlin, we've got a very special guest with us today. His name is Walker Bragman. He's a journalist tracking dark money and attacks on public health. He's the co-founder of Accountability Journalism Institute, and he writes at importantcontext.news, and you should follow him all of those places. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
What a time to be alive, huh?
Oh, yeah.
For now. Alive for now.
For now. Well, Caitlin, that's actually what we're talking about. We're talking about being alive for now. We're talking about health. We're talking about the alleged Making America Healthy Again campaign. We're talking about how that somehow means that Tylenol gives you spectrum stuff and vaccines aren't good for you anymore. So, Walker, how are you today, sir? And again, thanks for joining us. Can you give us a bit of your background beyond what I went into? How did you start following and tracking stuff on public health? And then we'll get into the stuff that you're tracking.
So I was covering, electoral politics for years. I started writing, bad op-eds. Depending on who you ask, bad op-eds in 2016, 2015. And then after that election, kind of realized that everybody has an opinion and there are so many great opinion writers out there. And maybe this isn't for me. And what we really need is sort of reporting. And so I started sort of covering topics I felt like weren't getting enough attention. Homelessness in the United States, the Saudi-led campaign against Yemen, stuff like that. And then in 2020, the pandemic hit. And my wife was working in the city at the time. And I started paying attention to public health stuff because it affected our lives very directly. Every night, kind of hearing the sirens going in Brooklyn was it was wild. People were banging their pots at shift changes, and then you'd hear the sirens going, and it was pretty overwhelming. And I remember when the state started to reopen, and thinking to myself, like, well, what's changed? Like, why are we doing? We don't have a vaccine. Like, what is happening here? Mm-hmm. And sorry, that door didn't just mysteriously, spookily reopen. That was a cat. Okay. And
So it did spookily reopen. It just wasn't a mystery.
It did. Yeah. And she hates closed doors. So, but anyway,
Something we can all learn from.
I started paying attention to public health stuff, and I started covering government policy and sort of who was pulling strings. When New York started to reopen, I looked at the real estate industry and like, well, that makes sense since it's the largest industry in New York and got hands in the governor's pocket and
Right.
But yeah, so from there it kind of spiraled, and I became aware of this thing called the Great Barrington Declaration, which was a document and purporting to be an academic letter written by scientists suggesting that we just reopen and sort of focus protection on the vulnerable, like people, the elderly, immunocompromised, just sort of squirrel them away and otherwise reopen and let herd immunity develop, which that's the diplomatic way of saying let everybody else get infected and then we can bring people back once the virus is not a big deal anymore, which there was never any scientific backing for it. And I started looking into it, and there were connections to like the Koch network. Charles Koch is a multi-billionaire, major right-wing funder, and his groups tied to Koch were promoting this kind of strategy, along with the Trump administration that wanted to reopen before the election. So, yeah, that's my background. That's how I came into this, and yeah, I hope that answered your question.
It did, absolutely. Thank you, Walker, and thank you for all of your diligent work and investigation, to be sure. So let us move to making America healthy again. Um, how are we accomplishing this? By making it difficult to get vaccines, Walker?
Well, we're not. So make
Oh, okay. Podcast over, guys. It's cool. This
We
show
can
is
wrap her
brought to
up.
you by Liberal Currents.
We are watching the systematic destruction of America's public health infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's deliberate, and it didn't happen. It's not a fluke. It's not a coincidence. It's not sort of random attacks on government that we're going to realize one day, oh my gosh, that was a mistake. It is an extension of a deliberate right-wing campaign to undermine public health that began with the pandemic. You could really, people who follow the history here could say like, no, it started like a long time ago, farther back, in the aughts, there was this, push against vaccines and that's all valid history. But really this coordinated attack to destroy public health began with COVID. And there are several reasons for that. Put yourself in the position of like a right-wing mega funder, so a very wealthy right-wing person who funds Republican causes. COVID has just completely exposed who the essential workers are. So we suddenly realize that it's not the C-suite executives that keep American society going. It's not the job creators, right? It's the people who work these low-wage jobs that have been underappreciated, underpaid, don't have adequate benefits. People who politicians have been too happy to frame as teenagers or people who lack ambition, dead-end people. Mm-hmm. And suddenly we realized, oh, we actually need you. Like we can't run this thing without you. So labor gets new leverage, and COVID hits at a very inopportune moment for Republicans, right? Like it hits the first case in the U.S. is January 2020. Less than a year away is the presidential election. Donald Trump is facing re-election, and it's not just a presidential election, it's a census year presidential election, which after the census, states redraw their congressional and state legislative districts. And this process can be weaponized to advantage one party over another, and we call that gerrymandering. partisan gerrymandering has existed for, since the 1800s. The term was coined, gerrymandering was coined in 1812 by the Boston Gazette, referring to the Massachusetts governor at the time who signed
That's
it.
right.
Elbridge
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's an eponym.
Yeah.
People don't realize, named after a person.
It's existed for a long time, but in 2010, Republicans weaponized the process like we've never seen. They realized that the census year election was timing out perfectly for them, given the election of Barack Obama. America's first black president, bound to generate backlash and enthusiasm among the right-wing base. And he was elected in 2008. The midterms are in 2010. The census is in 2010. So they poured all this money into the state races. Democrats didn't really pay that much attention to it. And there are a number of reasons, but investing so much in OFA and taking out of the state parties was a huge mistake. Mm-hmm. And so the plan really worked, and Republicans were able to lock in an advantage at the state level that they still enjoy today, frankly. And Congress there held for, till 2018 with the election of another very polarizing president. Arguably the most polarizing president we've ever had 2 years earlier. So 2020 coincides with the census. So there's this opportunity to undo that damage. And Republicans recognize, I think, that there's this crisis, and if it continues, it's going to be really bad for their guy and their prospects. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, you've got this new appreciation for labor, which is undermining sort of the central right-wing ethos that wealth is a sign of social contribution and virtue. And so what they do is they pass this very generous relief package because they want to move past this crisis very quickly. And so that's the Families First Coronavirus Relief Act, and it's the CARES Act. And that's a historic but temporary expansion of the safety net that, we haven't seen that kind of social spending in decades. And
right.
It turns out that just further empowers labor and is very popular, and it shows Americans that government can work. Mm-hmm. And if government can work, then Reagan might have been lying about the 9 most terrifying words in the English language. I'm from the government, I'm here to help. It turned out with COVID that I'm from the government and you're on your own is actually a lot scarier.
Yeah, that's right.
So they had these multiple layers of, oh God, we got to do something. And we got to get rid of this crisis. But the problem is that, that's not what, following the science, crisis wasn't going anywhere. So your options are either do the stuff necessary to beat the pandemic, which requires a massive overhaul of America's infrastructure, probably implementing a national healthcare system, all the stuff that Republicans don't want to do. Or you just make the crisis go away. You make people think it's not a real crisis. And That's a lot easier. And so that's where it begins. And over time, we've seen that sort of spiral into an open embrace of anti-vax stuff. The MAHA movement, I think you can really trace its origins to the Defeat the Mandates rally in DC. I think that's sort of where you see a coalescing of traditional right-wing or more right-wing groups and the sort of anti-vax groups that Kennedy has been affiliated with. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that alliance has buoyed the right for years now. And so when Trump got elected, it was inevitable that he was going to put some of these people who have fought against COVID mitigation measures and lent their voices to that in positions of power. And so Kennedy was one of them. Jay Bhattacharya, who's our NIH director, is another. Mm-hmm. Marty Macri at FDA. So that's how we got here.
Right. I had the privilege of seeing Jay Bhattacharya speak at Stanford at the Academic Freedom Conference in 22. It was such a treat, I have to tell you.
Wow.
I just was pulling up my notes from that day because I was like, what actually was happening? And he was doing the free speech angle, obviously. So he was like, well, I got canceled for being right about COVID. And like in 2022, we already knew he was not right.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, his I got canceled is like, it's so ridiculous. Like, I got canceled. I was on Fox News like 30 some odd times. I got to advise the
Exactly.
president of the United States. Various states had me as an expert witness in court cases. Judges thought I
Yeah.
was full of shit, but that's
Even the way he tells the story is so wild because he'll be like, oh my God, I was persona non grata everywhere. I was getting threats, by which he means people put up flyers that showed that he was wrong. Those are what he called threats. And then he was like, all of this was happening. Like, I had not a friend in the world. Everyone wanted me dead. Ron DeSantis called me on the phone and was like, you're my hero. Come work for me. And I'm like, so which is true?
yeah, no, he was never canceled, and the whole, he loves to say I was censored by government. That's his big gripe is, oh, I was censored. And first of all, no, he wasn't. But
Right.
he brought those claims to court. Actually, and the case, because it was a typical. He was represented by the New Civil Liberties Alliance, which was a Charles Koch funded, Koch Foundation seed funding lawfare outfit that fights government on behalf of major business interests.
Right.
That's essentially what it exists for, and they took him on as a client, pro bono client.
Yep.
And forum shopped the case up to the Fifth Circuit, Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and then straight to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, in an opinion led by that liberal paragon Amy Coney Barrett,
Sure,
was like, no, I'm sorry, but you don't have standing to bring this case because you haven't shown that the government is the cause of your injury.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Just basic stuff.
Yeah. He claimed that government pressured social media companies, and there have been a few of these cases now, trying to make this case that government strong-armed social media into censoring certain accounts.
Right.
And they were never able to show. They've never been able to show it. The cases have failed one by one. Yeah.
Right.
And Jay's case was Missouri v. Biden, which became Murphy v. Missouri, is one of those cases. It failed at the Supreme Court, but he continues to promote this narrative. I mean, it's sort of part of his personal mythos that Francis Collins and Anthony Fauci censored him because they shit talked him in an email.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I love is, right, he walks onto campus in, I think it was at Stanford, and there was a like poster area, and there's like a printout of him tweeting, we have protected the vulnerable by vaccinating the older population. And then underneath it is another printout of a like vaccine deaths graph that has like a huge spike right when they implemented that policy. And he's like, first of all, that's a death threat. Secondly, they're like censoring me. They're like creating a hostile work environment, he called it. And then he's like, also, I called like the dean and I said they need to take down those signs. I was like, okay, so you do like censorship a little bit, don't you?
The hypocrisy is stunning. I mean, he really is. He really is not a good faith actor. Like, he's not. Right. He and he never has been. I mean, Jay is, I think, at his core, and I'm going to call him Jay because I feel like after you share my cell phone number on Twitter to your followers, I feel like you and I have a relationship. So I'm going to, yeah, Jay is a political operative.
Yeah.
He is a right-wing political operative. He was writing for the Cato Institute. He wrote a piece for the Cato Institute back in 2020 arguing against Medicare for All. I think that was April 2020. He was a Hoover Institution guy. He's totally tied in with the right.
Which is who helped put on this the talk that I went to. The conference was Hoover.
Oh, of course,
right.
Of course. And on top of that, I think he spoke at the Council for National Policy. Like this guy is very well connected. He's an economist. He has an MD, but he never, did anything with it, which is fine. I mean, I say that as somebody with a JD who never did anything with it. So no shade there. Just saying you're not. He's an economist.
We all have advanced degrees we don't use, Walker.
But like, that's sort of who he is. So he's going to promote these narratives, and he's not going to be forthcoming about the fact that like he's never been able to prove it.
Right.
But yeah, he's now our NIH director, overseeing the destruction of the NIH, which is considered the crown jewel of America's public health.
Right.
Yeah. And his ally, Martin Kulldorff, is the chair of ACIP, which is the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices for the CDC.
Right.
He presides over a panel of real, like, Yahoo type anti-vaxxers. And there are a couple people on there who are like more reasonable, but all of them have expressed very contrarian views about the COVID vaccines. And so it's just this is the country we live in now. We're led by people who don't care about or understand science.
Right. Oh yeah. So what was Kulldorff's thing? He wouldn't get the vaccine at work.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was kind of at Harvard Medical School, and I say kind of because every time I post that, somebody's in my mentions like, well, he's not technically, he was part of this other thing. Like, he was at Harvard Medical School. He's a biostatistician, and he connected with a guy named Jeffrey Tucker in 2020, in the summer of 2020. Tucker was the editorial director of the American Institute for Economic Research, which is not a group that you really need to pay much attention to anymore because they're a libertarian think tank on the outskirts of the Koch network.
Okay.
It's not really a major player, but Tucker is like a veteran of dark money groups. He's an anarcho-capitalist. Has ties to neo-Confederate organizations, past ties to neo-Confederate groups. He's a trad Catholic, and he supports child labor and youth cigarette smoking. That's his big thing. We had internal emails from his latest group that show that. It's real bad. He posted in these emails. He posts a picture of newsy kids smoking cigarettes. He's like, don't these kids just look happier than kids today? And it's like, I don't know, dude. Like,
they look a little more like cancer prone.
Right.
That's what you. Yeah. He also admitted in those emails that he got his kid hooked on cigarettes because he didn't want him to smoke pot.
Oh my God.
And then his kid went and sold. Yeah. This is all in emails. We reported it. It's not important context. Leaked brownstone emails. He's saying the unintended consequence there was that my kid started selling cigarettes to everybody in school, and then he lied and bribed kids with cigarettes so that I wouldn't go to jail.
And this guy, remind me what his job is right now.
So he's the founder of the Brownstone Institute, which used to employ Kulldorff, and Kulldorff and he have been allies for many years. While he was at AIER, the American Institute for Economic Research, they sort of put on the conference at which the Great Barrington Declaration was written and signed. And so Kulldorff went from Harvard Medical School to Brownstone, which by the way promotes anti-vax stuff, pandemic conspiracy theories. Like, it's really a clearinghouse for just a lot of very fringe, sort of kooky people.
Yeah.
And so that guy is now leading the advisory committee on.
I think that is so cool. You know, it just shows that anybody can be anything.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring.
Exactly.
Like, really believe in yourself, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, anytime you have imposter syndrome, just,
Okay, so we talked with Jared Holt and Michael Edison Hayden about the fired for speaking the truth trope, right? And Kulldorff is a good example. So he wrote in City Journal, let's get, this is going to get really pretentious, so just gird your loins here. I am no longer a professor of medicine at Harvard. The Harvard motto is Veritas, Latin for truth. But as I discovered, truth can get you fired. This is my story, a story of a Harvard biostatistician and infectious disease epidemiologist clinging to the truth as the world lost its way during the COVID pandemic.
What a hero.
So yeah, I know, right? Honestly, a martyr. We should take
thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, we should take down all of Christ on the cross on all of our churches and just replace them with Martin.
I wish that I were as canceled as any of these guys.
Dude, canceled all the way to the top, man.
Yeah, canceled. Yeah. it's so ridiculous. Like the entire narrative, sort of the right can't see itself as anything but a victim ever. Like the entire movement is built on being, sort of in the minority and victimized. And the problem is that it's not. It's very dominant and has sort of weaponized the peculiarities of our constitutional system to engage in minority rule. And it's very this stuff with public health is so dangerous because like we can't. I mean, we are so vulnerable today to infectious disease threats because we have these people leading. We are so vulnerable to climate change because we have a climate denier as head of the EPA. Like, it's just the worst people for the positions possible. That's that seems to be the qualification.
It feels like every threat to humanity that exists, like we've just taken whatever department is supposed to deal with it and put someone in charge who's like, no, it's not. No, it doesn't.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And they there seems to be this thinking that, like, well, we have this ecosystem, right? This messaging ecosystem. You've got right-wing media, you've got the dark money groups, you have social media influencers and podcasters, and like we can kind of craft reality to what we want it to be. And they have had a lot of success, right? Like they rewrote the history of COVID. A lot of the country thinks that it was never a big deal, that we overreacted. Well, there are a lot of people that aren't getting the vaccine. And so they have had success. The problem is that denial only gets you so far, and eventually reality is going to kick in your teeth. And no matter what, like it's like if the waters are rising and like in your living room, you can't be like, well, no, this isn't happening. Climate change isn't real. Like it's in your house.
Right, like your living room is flooded, so what now, right? Or like your kid has measles, like what are you gonna do now?
It's just all they're really succeeding in doing is killing a lot of people. That's it. They're killing people, and I think there needs to be sort of a reckoning with that. I think people need to talk about it more. We need to frame it that way and point out, there's a human cost to these sort of feel good myths, because everybody loves, no, climate change isn't real. I don't have to worry about a climate crisis. It's COVID isn't a big deal. I don't have to worry about it. Oh, good, cool. But like, maybe worry about it a little, because if you don't, like you could be the one on the ventilator.
Right. Yeah, no, but it's snowing, so obviously it's fake. I had to field that comment from my grandpa all the time, where he was just like, well, where's your precious climate change? Where's your precious global warming now? It's snowy today. I'm like, oh, man, that's
all the time.
That's so silly.
It's predatory. They prey on people who are sort of susceptible to that, and unfortunately the elderly are very susceptible to being misinformed, because they grew up and they lived their lives with one reality, and like times change, and that's an uncomfortable thing. I mean, even now, at 37, I'm like, these kids,
absolutely,
kids, like but I catch it in myself. I find I'm like, this pop music or whatever. Like I get it. Like the resistance to kind of to change is real, and it's there. But you have to kind of you can close it. That's fine.
It's the cat again. It's the cat again. Yeah.
Fortunately, the cat listens to reason. That's nice.
but like we have to sort of grow up, I think, and accept things that are scary and deal with them, because if we don't, it's just going to be worse for our kids.
And those of us who are adults, like, we can actually remember what things were like when we were children, right? Like, if you go to the same place for like winter break that you always went, and you think about like, what was the weather like back then and what is it like lately? Like, you can see that there's a difference, right? Like
the seasons have shifted, right?
The seasons have shifted.
Like September is when stuff used to start getting chilly. By October 1st, it was cold. Now it's like by October 15th, I start wearing the flannels, but otherwise I'm wearing t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like,
absolutely.
growing up in the desert in Phoenix, Arizona, I remember like monsoon season being fairly predictable. Like end of summer, we would get monsoon season. Now it's not predictable. Sometimes you don't even get it. Like it's absolutely changed in the last 20 years. How old am I? 30 years? It's changed. Oh God. In the last 30 years for sure.
30s, oh God.
No,
Oh
I mean
boy.
like 30 years ago is a time in my life when I can remember
Oh,
things.
okay.
I'm so much younger than you. I'm actually only 36, so
Oh, okay.
a
Okay.
real baby.
Yeah, just wait that extra year.
Yeah, it's gonna change everything.
Yeah, I mean, being only 34, I look at you guys in awe and
Mhm.
and
Screw you, man.
appreciation.
Sages. We're just I'll be over here, the old crone,
Yeah.
explaining. I remember 1992.
Yeah. Have I told you when Enema of the State came out?
We used to watch PBS on the television.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
absolutely. Well, Walker, I mean, you mentioned that eventually, if we're not brave, if we do not step up and realize what's going on around us, that we might come to regret it. Well, certainly in Texas, with outbreak in polio, with South Carolina with outbreak in measles, there are certainly, one would imagine, people who are regretting their previous stance as it concerns vaccination. Um, has there been any like buzz regarding that? I mean, outside of just reporting?
so I think a couple things. One is that some people, when it does come home to roost, have a realization and are like, "Oh my God."
Right.
Not everybody does. There is a very strong, well-funded misinformation ecosystem out there, and that has poisoned a lot of people and will prevent them from seeing the reality. It's just, unfortunately, they will be hit by that reality whether or not they understand what is happening.
Right.
I don't know if public opinion is going to start shifting. I would imagine that public health advocates have a really easy case to make now, because it's like, these guys are the establishment. They're not outsiders saying what they. Dr. Jonathan Howard, who is a great resource for all things crank. He's documented the sort of the crankery of the right very well. He loves to point out that, like, these guys, they're not resting on their laurels of the thing, their miraculous accomplishments that they would have had if they had been in power. Now they're in power. Now is the
Right.
time to see what's happening. And unfortunately, what's happening is we're not in control of diseases that were previously eradicated, or at least very, very controlled. So it's just it's a bad place. It's a bad place
Yeah.
for the country.
You can sort of explain away anything if you really want to, and like this is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Someone in your life dies of a preventable illness, and you can come up with other reasons, right? Like we got
Especially if
that
you're the
whole,
reason.
well,
Yeah.
right, because that's something you
Exactly.
can't really live with,
Yeah.
and then you can do this whole like they died with COVID instead of COVID thing, anything to
Mm.
get away from the reality. I'm just looking at Martin Kulldorff again, fear mongering about the COVID vaccine, saying that Pfizer, like implying, he can't say it directly, right, but implying that the Pfizer vaccine caused birth defects in pregnant people.
Yeah.
Which I got it when I was pregnant. The nurse who gave it to me cried. She was like, "Thank God you're here doing this," because she worked shifts at the hospital with like pregnant moms on ventilators, and so when she saw that I was like visibly pregnant and she was giving me my vaccine, she like had a little emotional moment, and so did I was
Oh,
like, oh my God.
yeah. No, it's important. My wife, got it when she was pregnant too, and like they're just they don't they're not moored to reality
Mhm.
in a way that you would want a public health official to be. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
putting
Honestly.
it mildly.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
because like yeah, they gave this thing about like the risk of birth defects, and then an actual professor chimes in and is like, "Hey, so looking at the 2,000 plus page report, it looks like there's kind of no way logically that the vaccines could have caused those birth defects." And he like lists the specific defects that happened, including, and they're all different, right? That's the thing. It's like one person had an atrial septal defect, one person had congenital rubella syndrome, one had Down syndrome. Like they're completely different issues. Like one thing could not have caused that. And like but just like everybody, all these MDs are just like, Martin, what are you doing? Martin, stop. Martin, oh my God.
Looking backwards from a conclusion, he was not put on. I mean, I will say this. I think, academics have a tendency to treat people like Kulldorff as just sort of colleagues that are misguided or have made an error.
Yeah.
He wasn't put on that committee to make evidence-based assessments of vaccines. He was not. That's not why he is there. He is put on that committee because he is a medical contrarian willing to lend his voice to a larger right-wing war on public health, because major business interests and the political right have come to see public health as a barrier to what they want to do.
Yeah.
You can't reopen America amid a pandemic. A lot of people are going to die, and that's unethical. And they're like, well, is it really like that bad? I mean, there are more of them. Like there are more. I mean, early on, before they openly embraced this herd immunity stuff, you heard Republicans saying like, there's a sacrifice that has to be made, like the trade-off to keep the economy going. Mm-hmm. That's the reality of what they believe, put out there nakedly. It wasn't popular, and so they embraced, they tried to make public health into the bad guy. Mm-hmm. So they attacked lockdowns. That was their first target. Yeah. Then they attacked school closures and made school closures into the big boogeyman. Like, oh, look at all of this harm to kids. A few months earlier, they were like, school closures. Yeah, homeschooling's moment. It's this. That's this is the end of public school. And then all of a sudden, when the job market isn't recovering, they're like, school closures are grievous
learning
harm.
loss, you guys. Learning loss.
Yeah, and like they're learning loss. Valid concern. There were reports coming out like early on, like kids are losing out on education. Mm-hmm. You can reasonable people can disagree about how much to focus on that, because summer break happens, kids lose learning over summer break. Mm-hmm.
Family disruptions from a global pandemic.
Yeah, like right. You have to balance these things. Like, some kids it sucks. You're living through a pandemic. Kids are going to lose some learning. Mm-hmm. But they're also going to keep learning at home, and it's going to be hard, but we have to come together and look out for each other. That's the reality of a pandemic. Or you get the situation like what we had, where we just kind of let a bunch of people die.
Yeah.
And get disabled, and that's awful.
It's kind of a situation where no options are good, right? Like you're going to experience some negative consequences no matter what you choose. You just have to choose what kills fewer people.
It's the classic, Star Trek Kobayashi Maru situation. Like it's a no-win situation. You have to take the best course.
Yeah, you just have to understand that that's the situation you're in.
Yeah.
I have to say though, I think you maybe you owe Martin Kulldorff a little bit of an apology, because right here on October 4th, he says that the Great Barrington Declaration was released 5 years ago today, and then he says we were proven right. So I don't know, man.
I mean,
why would he say that, Walker?
Why would he say that if it wasn't true?
I mean, it's so
embarrassing
like
for you.
These people have no shame. They're absolutely shameless, and they'll
just say stuff, man.
They'll say it, and they've got a built-in audience on the right that has been extraordinarily propagandized. I think with COVID, I think and public health, what we're really seeing is that money in politics is an existential threat to American democracy, because
Yeah.
public health has become a huge wedge to recruit people to the right. Like, it was the tip of the spear. So you start to see like moms,
Those MAHA
you know,
moms, right?
like
Yeah.
parents' rights groups emerging, and they emerge out of COVID stuff, and then quickly pivot to like anti-trans hate and stuff, and anti-LGBT stuff, and like it becomes this tip of the spear and a recruitment tool. And now we're facing a very illiberal administration that is working to dismantle safeguards to maintain our republic, and that's very scary.
Yeah. Right. So like the parents' rights thing, that is so fun because it comes up a lot of episodes that we do, right? Like
A lot.
when we talked about the education wars, it was parents' rights for child labor. Because it was like, how dare the government do truancy sweeps and tell me that I have to send my kid to school instead of the mines. And then with our librarian, with Katie, it was about like segregation, right? Like race mixing is Marxism and it's bad for my children. And like, so it's everywhere, man. That parents' rights move.
Everywhere. The tyranny of the parents.
No, it's very it's so like groups like Moms for Liberty, Parents Defending Education. There's another one based in New York. The name is escaping me now, but we did a report on them. But they're all, they're all backed by big money. They just they don't. This is not organic. Nothing about the conservative movement going back to the 1970s has been organic. Like what we have to, I think people have to understand about this is like, there wouldn't be a conservative movement if it weren't for big business interests sort of pumping money into mercenaries who will say what they want them to say. Like that's sort of where this all stems from.
And the ultimate upshot is taking money out of public services and lining their own pockets. Like that is truly
exactly, and stopping consumer protection. So the consumer protection movement was scoring some victories in the 70s. And so you see, that's when the Powell memorandum was sent. And he's like, this is an attack on free enterprise. Lewis Powell Jr., for the uninitiated, was a former Supreme Court justice. Before that, he was a tobacco industry attorney. And really just
pioneered the use of the free speech argument to hurt people, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We need to balance, we got to balance out this liberal nonsense on campus and in the media by monitoring textbooks and like, oh God.
We need the Chamber of Commerce to be involved in education because we need to make sure it's like pro-business enough. So cool. Oh yeah. Well, now we're back to episode 1. We're back to campus misinformation. It always comes back.
It's just we're dealing with sort of a cancer on our republic, I guess. That is big money.
It's not George Soros. I heard it was him. Or the Rothschilds, or like who's another Jewish family we can yell at?
The Mercer. Wait.
Oh no! It always goes back to the Nazis because it was the Koch family that did the manufacturing plant against international law, right, in Germany.
They also worked with the Soviets later.
I was gonna say, I think he also did some work with the Soviets.
If there's dollars, they're gonna get them.
But hey, if there's dollars, it makes sense, right?
Hey,
have you read Dark Money?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The part that stood out to me was the German governess that the Koch kids had when they were younger, and she would give them like medically unnecessary suppositories if they didn't have a bowel movement. And,
we need a movie.
And then when Hitler called for all good Germans to return to the fatherland, bye governess.
She was a good.
She was a Nazi.
Like why suppository? Why just?
It's just so perfectly fitting.
What an awful experience.
Yeah, the writing on that one was incredible.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, everybody read that one. It's a ride. It's a roller coaster.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all in a worse position because very damaged people have more money than they could ever spend in 10 lifetimes.
Right.
Right.
Well, what came first, the money or the damage? What do we think?
Ooh.
Case by case basis.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other.
Yeah, definitely case by case basis. I'd say Musk, it's the money first, then
And then
the
they became
trauma.
damaged.
The colonization.
Yeah.
Right, emerald mines. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody gets out of colonization unscathed, the victims or the perpetrators. There's always
Yeah.
It's
something
true.
deeply wrong.
Musk is like one of the early proponents of sort of COVID minimization, like, and he's the richest man in the world, financially. So like people don't connect that it's like
He's also a victim of the same disease Jay Bhattacharya has, which is like shitty little kid syndrome, which is like you're not allowed to say that I'm not fun and cool. You're not allowed to not play with me.
they're friends.
Yeah.
He invited Jay to come and search through Twitter's whatever to find evidence.
Yes.
Yeah, but
cool.
The Twitter
but like
files.
Which they
there are
totally
people
found.
who don't realize today that like a lot of the sort of misinformation that we have accepted as a country about COVID was pushed by very wealthy people. They there is a group of ostensibly left-wing people who are not really left-wing,
Allegedly.
allegedly, who are like lockdowns were hurting the poor, and it's like they've embraced all this right-wing stuff, and like
Right. I mean, the Great Barrington Declaration makes that claim too, right? Which is like underprivileged, under-resourced people are actually going to be hit the hardest if we do lockdowns.
and they're also going to be hit the hardest if we mass infect the population.
Right. If we let them all die, like that's going to hurt too.
we have to save them by killing them.
Yeah, I mean the data as it related to the housing insecure and homeless population kind of bared that out. The rate at which they might seriously find illness was exponentially greater, as it is in normal circumstances, but even more so during COVID. I mean, so to say that it's just disingenuous, but again, they don't really care about the love of the truth, like we talked about with Matt McManus. It's the love of winning. We go back to Socrates.
But I
they
heard
only
that the
care about
motto
victory.
the motto of Harvard is actually Veritas, which you may not know this, but it's Latin for truth.
What does it mean, Caitlin?
It is true. It's something that Martin cares about a lot. And you can trust him because he said so.
Yeah,
I know.
nothing like a guy who was ousted from his job and then went to work at a conspiratorial think tank.
Yeah. Well, it's like, when somebody says that they're actually very cool and fun, that's how you know that they're super not, right? As if like unprompted, they're like, do you know what? Truth matters a lot to me. I'm a very truthful person. Like you shouldn't have to say that.
The weird thing to say, man.
Yeah, you should let other people say that about you.
New rule, right? Yeah, absolutely. Let other people say you're fun and cool and also care about truth.
No, I care a lot.
I care so much about truth. That's why I have this job where I lie every single second of my life.
I mean, to sit on a panel with like Robert Malone.
Oh, is he there? He was there. He was at my talk.
What?
What a talk this was.
It was bizarre.
How did I miss this?
No, maybe Malone wasn't there. I need to find my list of participants.
I mean, Stanford has had some real, floaters.
Well, this was the Classical Liberalism Institute that put this on with the help of the Hoover Institution. So, like, just the phrase classical liberalism should send a shiver down your spine, right? Of like, whoa.
Well, Hoover's based out of Stanford. Is it not? That's where he went.
Yeah. So Hoover is actually here's something fun.
Yeah.
Hoover is not only is it based out of Stanford, it is it doesn't have its own EIN number. It is the Stanford trustees. So like you can't finding out how it's funded and whatnot is very difficult because
Really?
you have to like I mean it has an EIN, it's just it shares the EIN with the Stanford trustees. And so when you look at it, it's like, well, who's funding Hoover, who's funding other things at the school? I think Stanford should kick Hoover out or require that it disclose all of its funding in the name of academic, integrity. But Stanford's president is a very conservative guy, ally of Bhattacharya. He gave opening remarks at this conference in August, I think it was 2024, and that conference featured anti-vaxxers and a bunch of medical contrarians, and he gave he signed off on it and gave the school's imprimatur by giving the opening address. So Stanford's got a lot of problems.
Yeah. No, we had Ioannidis was there. I don't know how to say his name.
Ioannidis, yeah.
Ioannidis, yeah. That guy was there. Malone maybe wasn't there. Maybe I hallucinated him.
Yeah, who are the other guests, if you don't mind?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's a long list, but Peter Thiel did a keynote.
Okay. Yeah.
John Haidt did a rant about Gen Z students being clinically insane, and that's why wokeism happened.
What a wonderful conference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anna Krylov, Luana Moroja, Jerry Coyne, we love him. Jordan Peterson had a beautiful conversation with Douglas Murray about the death of the West.
This should not have been allowed on Stanford's campus. I'm just like, I my position is that academic institutions and media, but they're far too willing to platform sort of right-wing insanity and bad faith actors, and really, I mean, it all goes back to that to the Powell memo. Like, these people are not there to further the discussion. They're there to indoctrinate children.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I did a little tally of like, okay, so this is about threats to academic freedom and freedom of speech, right? So who do they actually say is at fault, right? And the largest segment of people that they blamed was their colleagues and their students. They were like, it's woke people who don't like me. That's actually the reason. However, every once in a while you get like a Peter Thiel who's like, actually the problem is diversity and the globalists. And you're like looking around the room being like, is everyone chill with this? Is that cool? I don't know why, but like I've always had the sense that when someone says the globalists, like, you're in really scary territory. And a lot of people just like don't have that alarm bell. And I would like to tell everyone listening right now, like, understand that not only is that a dog whistle, but it's like a very naked one.
Yeah, the more
that's like a regular whistle.
That was something that I learned sort of in reporting on the right, like learning sort of their terminology, and like that was one that like flew over my head when like back in the day, but like now I'm like, oh yeah, no, okay, I see it, I get it, and there's a lot of that. Thiel is a weird, whacked out guy.
Yeah, that guy's just straight up a Nazi, and like also he's really hard to listen to. He's not a good public speaker.
No,
that took a lot of work to like just follow his speech with my brain. It like hurt.
It looks like it takes a lot for him to get it done.
To get through it. Yeah.
He's the one who it was him, right? Who gave the response where they're like, do you think humanity should exist or like should survive? Yeah. And he was like, well,
he's obsessed with Satan. Right.
The Antichrist.
Yeah, the Antichrist. Sorry, that's different from Satan. My apologies. Yes. I haven't been to church for a long time.
The fact that we are even having to discuss somebody with this belief set as like a
serious actor,
somebody to pay attention to, and not some some carnival barker or somebody standing on the,
He's got
that is
serious money, so that translates to take me seriously, apparently.
a sign of the times. We got to tax these people more, because I personally do not
Yes.
want to live at the whims of a guy who's doesn't necessarily think humanity needs to survive and is obsessed with the
Yeah, I think we should
Right.
have a special Peter Thiel tax that just taxes him down to like $10. He can have $10, and that's all he needs.
So you're obsessed with the Antichrist, and also you created a company named after the orb that Sauron uses to like spy on the world.
Right,
Like
and
this is
which
dangerous.
will lie to you too. Yeah.
This is a dangerous set of combinations to enjoy.
He's
We
a
should
He's
he's a
not.
friend of Bhattacharya's too. He's a
Of course he is. Of course,
yeah.
because he and Musk are buddies. Like it all makes sense. He's like obsessed with Tolkien and also does not understand Tolkien, which is like they're all like this, right?
Yeah.
They want to live in this world of like literary and film and everything, and they just don't understand any of it. And I do think sometimes they're messing with us, right? Like I complained to Hagen about this, right? That like Elon Musk's AI chatbot is called Grok, but then when you look up like why he named it that, he's like, because of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's like that's not what it's from. Like, is he doing that just to make the real nerds mad? Why is he doing that?
Or does he just not know? Yeah.
But you could Google that. You could ask Grok. Grok will be like, oh yeah, that's a word from Stranger in a Strange Land. But my weird ass creator thinks that it's from Hitchhiker's Guide for some reason.
They're just so ugh.
That's what
It's hard
happens
to-
when you pay somebody to watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for you.
To watch it, Trent.
Yes, he pays people to play video games for him.
Yeah, I was
all
gonna
right.
say,
He
he's
pays
too-
people
he's
to
too
watch
busy
movies for him.
You know, paying people to make him.
But
the
I just like
number
not
one
even read the
Diablo
book.
player. Or what was the game Path of Exile 2 where
Yes.
he got exposed, but like yeah, I'm actually a very good video game player, like world class. Oh yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. And he didn't know basic stuff, like he couldn't figure out the map.
Yeah. Like oh yeah, no, world
Why are
class.
you so powered up and you can't even figure out the basic game mechanics?
My favorite are like the people who are looking at his build and they're like, nobody would make a build like this. Like this
It's a
isn't
crazy choice.
functional in the game. Like what are you doing? You've never done this before.
Okay, let's get back on track. My goodness, you guys. I'm gonna pretend that I had nothing to do with getting so far off base. It was all you. So what's the situation today? It is mid-October. It is 2025. I have a cold, so that's why I sound like this, and it's probably RFK Jr.'s fault. What's our situation right now? Just where are we at?
Nowhere good.
Okay, cool.
We're less prepared to handle infectious disease threats than I think we were at the start of the pandemic, and even then we weren't really prepared. We are less prepared today to deal with climate, fallout because of Lee Zeldin, and this is. If I wanted to, I've said this a few times, but like if I wanted to destroy this country from like within, if I were somebody who was bent on dismantling a country, the first thing I would go after is its public health infrastructure and climate resilience, and that's exactly what they've done. So we are in dire straits. I'm very concerned about this new Supreme Court case that could dismantle the Voting Rights Act, because that could allow the Republicans to disenfranchise a lot of voters for the midterms and hold on to the House. And there has to be some check on this government, because what is happening now is sort of unchecked power with, I think, a mad president and just enablers. Sort of egged on by this right wing, these right wing operatives who have wanted to dismantle and destroy the government for many, many years. And so that's what we're seeing. Project 2025 is happening.
It is happening. Yeah. They tried to lie and say, "Oh, I don't know what that is." They knew what it was, and then they did it. And he installed people who were involved in creating it, and like it was.
Yeah.
it was always so preposterous too, because like the Heritage Foundation is like
So easy.
we are the place that Trump went for his policy. Like that's who we are. And Trump's like, I don't know who they are. I don't know, whatever. And like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
we are his people. And of course,
But the people who believed it, they wanted to believe it. There was no
Yeah.
evidence that you should have believed it. Like you said, they were literally saying, everyone was saying it was. He had people in his campaign who were on
Who
board.
worked on it. Yeah.
Right. It's willing. It's willingly, and we're seeing a lot of nasty things as a result. And
Right.
like you said, we still have a lot of time before midterms, and if this Voting Rights Act gets destroyed even further, then the midterms won't even be salvation. You're in New York, Walker. I'm in Illinois. Caitlin, she's in Oregon. There is an attempt from many of the Democratic-led states to sort of try to hold on to some of the health standards that we
Mhm.
previously hung our hat on. I'll just ask it straight. Are they going to be able to provide any sort of help for people living in those states?
I think so. I hope so.
I got my COVID vaccine. My husband got his without having to prove any like we didn't need to provide a prescription or anything, and it's because of that Western states
Right.
thing. So and my kids are getting done soon.
I will say I think insurance companies need to be pressured by these states like into covering the stuff and continuing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty hopeful. I don't love sort of the precedent though, because like
Right.
states are just gonna like soft secede is the term Clara Jeffrey uses from Mother Jones, and like I agree with that
Yeah.
article that she wrote, but like it's taking us to a very scary place.
Yeah.
And the next time there is a unified democratic government, and I gonna say that, and I know a lot of people are like, what do you mean next time? It's over. No, you hold on. You say
We
next
gotta
time,
believe.
and you treat
Yeah.
it as if nothing has changed, because until they rip it away from you, don't comply with their oh, it's
Yeah.
hopeless, you're done, it's
Don't
over.
cede the power. Don't cede the
Yeah,
power.
no, you
Absolutely.
have 200 years of ingrained democratic tradition. You don't give that up for anything. So the next time there is, though, like, are Republican states gonna, soft secede? Are they gonna do the same thing to prevent the effects of like democratic policies from reaching
Right.
their populations? Of course they are, but they've already been doing that. I mean, this is
It's
sort of,
nullification all over again.
yeah, we're in this position that the Republican Party has sort of built this division, this tension, this over the years, and like, I mean, it's kind of like the South reasserting itself,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, it's this sort of like atomization of like each state kind of doing its own thing. And even though, we live in states that have managed to provide things like vaccines for us, that does leave most states still in the lurch.
yeah, it's very bad. I mean, we need to take back the federal government. We need to overhaul, get money out of politics. We need fighters in the Democratic Party. The current leadership is not cutting it.
No.
I don't think that's controversial anymore, but like, we've had a string of Democratic leaders, I think, since
Yeah.
the 90s that have been pretty ineffectual in terms of stopping the right.
I think even the Baileys hate Chuck Schumer at this point. Like he's got nobody.
Yeah, he's not a very popular man. But yeah, I mean, we need generational change in the party. And hopefully people willing to use the power that, I mean, Trump is showing the extent of how a president can govern, and it's hard to sort of square the last guy
Yeah.
with this, because Biden comes into office, this is what's waiting on the other side if he doesn't do what he needs to do, if we don't prosecute this Trump and we don't hold him accountable. And Trump shouldn't even be president, he should be in jail.
Right.
He
Shouldn't have been able to run.
Yeah. So like this is, and now he's running like this criminal enterprise as an administration where they are not adhering to the laws of the land. And
right. And you got Steve Bannon talking Trump 2028. Like,
yeah, like this is the consequence of not doing stuff that needed to be done. And
they already printed the hats.
Yeah, and then they had them in a meeting with Schumer and Jeffries, and they laughed. They all laughed
because it's a troll administration. It's a meme administration.
No, Caitlin, it's just a distraction. It's just a distraction. You have to remember, anything that happens is just a distraction.
Trent, my brain's going to start pouring out of my ears. It's going to happen. You're going to see it.
Well, we'd send you to the doctor, except, sad bear. Yeah. Well,
give us some hope. Give us something, Walker.
Please.
What do we do? What do we do?
Okay, so for me, Mamdani is likely to be mayor in New York City. That's a positive. He's, I think, a generational talent. I think that there will be generational change in the party. I think that even sort of normie Democrats are starting to kind of wake up to, oh wait, how did it get this bad? If the party was so awesome and kicking so much ass over the last decade or more, how did we get here?
No, it's because they didn't go center enough.
Oh yeah.
We just need one more think tank. Just one more think tank, bro.
We use too many words. Too many words.
Mm-hmm.
It's so condescending. That shit is so condescending. Like,
yeah. Oh, it's so confusing. It turns voters off because they don't understand it.
They don't
like
understand.
College words.
They don't understand the policies. Here's in a sense that's kind of true. It's like, why can't we translate our relief policies into victory? And it's like, well, because people have to fill out tons of paperwork to know if they even qualify. Like that might be why. Yeah. You want people to recognize the inherent goodness of your policy,
let them
have
see
it affect them. Make it easy.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's the thing is like, we're wasting all this time and money on all the testing when we could have just spent it on like
the relief.
Yeah, just the
relief.
relief.
We sent stimulus checks out to people. Just do that. It took no effort. You didn't have to apply to it. It worked.
You just got it. Yeah.
Of course, it ended under Biden.
I said give us hope.
I'm sorry. I'm not. Look, this is why I'm not fun at parties. I think that you have politicians, some up and coming Democrats who are very hopeful. I think that's the hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the people know that this is bullshit, right? The approval ratings are so in the toilet.
Yep.
There we go. Okay, we got it. We got some hope.
And there's some marches. There's an upcoming public health march that an affiliate of ours is helping, part of a coalition organizing in DC on November 5th. So there's that.
All right. Yeah, what is that? November 5th?
It's 911 March for Health and Science.
Excellent. Everybody get excited.
And Walker, where can they find all of your work again, please, sir?
Importantcontext.news. That's where my reporting is. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Threads, and then accountabilityjournalism.org is the institute.
All right, we'll put links to all of that in the description.
Appreciate you, Walker.
Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
You better come back to her again sometime.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. This has been Half the Answer, where understanding a question is half the answer. I have been your host, Caitlin, who absolutely knows what she's doing. We will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Half the Answer, presented by Liberal Currents. You can find Half the Answer anywhere you get your podcasts. Liberal Currents is an entirely listener and subscriber-funded publication, which includes programs like Half the Answer and Neon Liberalism. So, if you like what you've heard and wish to contribute, you may do so at liberalcurrents.com and through Patreon. And remember, understanding a question is half the answer.